terminology here, has to do with when we have changes of personnel, we have changes, we have payouts that they're entitled to, we have unemployment they're entitled to. Again, there's also medical payments they're entitled to, so that adds up to about $100,000, and that is why that's a cost. That's why it's in a bracket. It's not a positive number. The positive numbers in this case are actually are cuts or savings to the general fund. The $100,000 is a cost. So that is why it's in the bracket. And so that total is $581,000. Next slide. Okay, in the packet is a resolution. The resolution specifically addresses the furlough program. That is, the furlough program is 96 hours without pay for all full-time employees. What that requires for us is to actually close City Hall the first Friday of every month. That for most employees that'll be affected, they'll be working leave without pay is what we call it. They will not accruing pay for that 8 hours. They won't physically be here for 8 hours. So that equates to 4.6% reduction in compensation for those employees. We also have some employees that we've met and conferred with in the Fire Association specifically that are reducing their benefits by 4.6% in lieu of hours taken off. Specifically, they will be paying 3% to the PERS, the employee side of PERS. They will be giving up their physical fitness pay, which is a monthly pay of about $150 a month, and they also will be giving up the $100 that they just received in their MOU for the medical. That adds up to 4.6% of their compensation, and they will give that up instead of participating in the 8-hour a month off period. Local 1 is also doing something in contribution for the position cuts. They are also giving up a COLA, and actually they're deferring part of their COLA that's effective July 1 of 2009 to help compensate for the position cuts. We actually discussed one of the positions that was on the list to be cut, and instead of cutting that position, the whole group has voted to defer part of their COLA on July 1 for that position. So that is why that's in the resolution. Specifically, it was something very important to me, and also for clarity for the employees, for the council, for the public to understand, is when we would end the program, it's not going to be forever. I believe I'm an optimist. I believe the economy will turn around. But how will we end the program? So there's kind of two things. One is obviously I need to notify the council. And, my thought was 30 days prior to ending the furlough program, I would notify you in writing that we're ending the program. Again, this is public notice. We're closing City Hall once a month. We need to let the public know as well what we're doing. And also, too, when we would end it. My recommendation to council is we would end it when revenues exceed expenditures and our reserve level exceeds 8%. So in other words, we're on a solid footing. Revenues are higher than expenditures and our reserve is at least 8% in their general fund, and that's in the resolution. The resolution also includes the $208,000 in service cuts that I mentioned earlier. And the resolution also includes some cleanup items, and I want to point that out to you that we need to address according to my finance director. We had some items that were identified, and actually council's already approved, but they weren't budgeted. And this is our time to do cleanup. Specifically, the special election costs of $77,000. That was not actually budgeted for, so we're having to budget that. If you go to the last page, well, on my copy, I don't have a page number on here, but it's on Exhibit A. This is October 2008 update budget adjustments. It's right before the spreadsheet that has the 5-year forecast. So it's 1, 2, 3, about 4 pages into your back of your packet on the very end of it. And I apologize, you don't have a page number on this one. The first one says special election. It's $77,650. That's actually a cost to the general fund. That was not budgeted, and that was approved by council back in November, I recall. I know not all of you were here in November, but the previous council did approve that. There was also costs associated with the interim city manager. Previous council had hired the interim city manager, and the interim city manager incurred payout costs and unemployment costs that the city had not budgeted, and those are also listed. Those are costs to the general fund. Also, too, there's 4 positions that were vacant at some period during the fiscal year that were budgeted for payouts and or cash out savings. They can cash out some of the leave, so that's actually a savings to us because those positions are vacant. And then again, there was a budgeted transfer for sales tax, had to do with our agreement with KBI, that never, there was never any sales tax generated, and the budget numbers included this transfer, so that's why that's in there, to clean that out. Basically, it's a budgeted obligation of the general fund that's not required now, so we can put it in there as a savings. It's sort of doing an accounting move there. So that is why this is in there as well. That's all listed in the resolution. So to kind of sum things up, if you want to go to the next slide. There's back, go the other way, dear. What I'm asking tonight is I'm asking for you to approve the resolution for mid-year cuts. The next steps, we would notify that City Hall would be closed through the furlough program the first Friday of every month. That first date would be March 6th, next month, 2009. We would be closing the first Friday of every month until further notice, because I don't know when the crystal ball, I don't have a crystal ball. We don't know when the economy is going to turn around. We're all hopeful it turns around tomorrow. But it could be quite some time before we can do that. So we would have to have a notice, besides the website, we would actually do press releases and talk to the media and all that. But we would definitely let the public know, because we want to let the public know so they're not inconvenienced coming down to City Hall and there's no one there to help them. And again, I want to be very, just like we were talking about working on the fire MOU, well, we're going to be talking about budget items for almost every council meeting, because some of the items that we're talking about for 09 and 10 require extensive discussions by council, whether we're talking about street sweeping changes, landscape and lighting and maintenance changes. There'll be significant items that we'll bring forward ahead of May, so when we have the full budget in May, you'll have some of those decisions already made, because clearly there's some huge changes that we need to go through to be able to come up with a cut of $1.9 million. A lot of time will be spent going line by line on some of these issues, so because that is a large cut for us to absorb. Yet it's a cut that we need to absorb to be able to keep the general fund doing well and having a reserve of at least 8%. So I will be happy to answer any questions. I want to compliment Sandra Sato, Rebecca Hendricks, Karen Helvey, all the folks in the finance that have helped me with the, again, the basics, the building blocks of getting the numbers collected. Some of this stuff takes a long time doing revenue calculations and expenditure calculations. And again, I want to commend the employees for working with me and the HR director on the process. I started meeting and conferring with the employees prior to Christmas about the furlough program, about changes that we need to make. And, so it's been a process that, in good faith, we've been going through all the issues, and I just want to say that publicly, that we have good employees here. They understand that we have the economy to deal with, but it's much easier for me to deal with it with a partnership that I have. So I want to point that out. So I'm happy to answer any questions.